even if 3 p.m. is the worst time in terms of attention, I think we are lucky here that we are discussing probably the most exciting sector of real estate, which is retail. It's, in my opinion, the most dynamic, the most probably first to be more innovative. And to top it up, I guess the times have also been quite dynamic for you. So can I just start with a fun question? Have you had a single day in the last couple of years where it was just the usual day at the office?
I should start. I would say that probably not, because every day it's coming some challenges. So either from, outside or from inside community, like tenants, so or the clients which are visiting shopping center, or the team, which is also like people which needs to be cured well, and watched and helped in some situations. So probably not. So I'd say.
I think I did have a regular day in the office, but if that happens, you should normally expect that the next one will definitely be not.
In the recent year, when COVID is over, I think it's more quiet, but still every day there are challenges to be solved, for sure.
So could you give a little bit of an overview of what the year 2022 was like, the post-COVID year, and what kind of trends you're currently seeing, just in terms of the macro environment and how that translates to your day-to-day observations and retail sales? Just for everybody.
Okay, I can start. So year 2022 was very good in terms of the results. And if we speak about Akropolis group, so first of all, what was important that we integrated into the family of Akropolis shopping center, Riga's shopping center, Akropolis Alpha, which we also rebranded last year. And the shopping center was acquired in the end of 21. So during last year, we integrated it into our system and also did a lot of improvements, especially talking about the tenant mix improvement. And if we talk about other shopping centers, the results also were very good. And the COVID restrictions were lifted in the beginning of the year, so obviously that impacted the results very positively.
Sure, I just could only support what Dominykas has said. Obviously, after the COVID pandemics, people did come back to the shopping centers, and the physical shopping is really relevant even more than ever before. I think after the really understanding how boring is to buy sitting on a sofa and not really having a single contact and not being served, not having a chance to try the things and to smell and sense the things in the shopping centers, it was obvious that people was really willing to come back. And all the sectors, starting from fashion to restaurants, services, been really growing in terms of turnover significantly. I think we can even say that it's double digits. So even if we compare the year with 2019, which was pre-COVID year, with 2022, so the growth of physical stores retail turnover in Baltics, Lithuania and other countries as well was really double digit. And that, I think, inspired quite a lot of tenants and landlords to really think on how to really monetize that on one hand. We will, I think, speak about that later, how many shopping centers were really doing some kind of refurbishments and some kind of introducing some kind of new ideas. But obviously, the thinking and believing that brick and mortar is relevant than ever was totally proven in 2022.
So not to repeat, of course, my colleagues, absolutely 22 was really a good year. Nevertheless, that it was really challenging because we had to make some very important decisions when war started, refurbishment. We were in the middle of refurbishment procedures. But we are very happy with all our decisions that we made, and we continue the refurbishment. You probably see the changes, the huge changes of Panorama shopping center, which is we believe in the that in the future will bring even more satisfaction to the customers, because all that we're doing for them first of all, and. So it's even refurbishment time that we are refurbishing, we have a growing customer flow and turnovers, and this was a huge surprise for our shareholders, and compliments, of course, for my team.
And do you see consumer preferences and behaviors change after COVID? Because we all are now adapting to this new normal where hybrid work is the norm. I guess now a little bit less so, but right during COVID, post-COVID, people were very much into health activities and sports activities, and I know that these kind of stores were doing well. So what is in your view the long-term change that's happened post-COVID that affects retail?
That is what we are absolutely having in our strategy, the health thing, and we are continuing. That's why we have a sport club which is renovated. We expanded the stores with quality food, which is growing constantly and still growing in terms of turnovers. And this segment of ours of gourmet food, it's not only gourmet as a separate project, but as well all the stores around it. It's really successful in Panorama. So, and it's helped actually to balance very much, maybe I'm repeating myself already, but it's balanced very much in the COVID times, in general, our turnover of shopping center, as well as the traffic. Balance. So we didn't drop that much as a shopping center in turnovers and in the traffic, because we had already kind of prepared for the COVID as well. And so the health issue, it's always very important, and that's why we are continuing this line in many layers. So in the portfolio, of course, to develop in the services for customers, which we're doing, we are as well, even this year started a partnership, like sponsored the Paralympics, with long-term social projects started. We always looking at the health, and this is going to be continuing growing path of the segment.
And I would assume that it kind of peaked post-COVID and subsided a little bit, but what are some other trends that you're seeing that it's different compared to, let's say, 3 years ago, Rida?
I may add at least one on that.
Yeah.
There is an obvious observation that people come to the shopping centers much more prepared, meaning that they have a good chance of checking the goods and their intentions online. And then they come to the shopping center, they already know quite a lot about what they will find. That's how the shopping purchase process itself is much shorter. So looking to the statistic data we have about the portfolio we do the management for, there is a clear observation. People buy more in less time. That's a very nice trend for physical shopping. I would say that was, again, quite well proven during 2022. What would you say, Dominyk?
Yeah, I agree, but to add to that, one interesting thing we have noticed, and I think it's directly impacted by the work from home, is that before COVID, so Saturday is always the best day for shopping centers, and Sunday was the second best day. But now, usually Friday is the second best day. So
When people work from home.
Yes, work from home is quiet and,
Working from shopping center home.
And also, in regards the development of different categories, we saw a huge growth in sports and leisure goods in COVID, but also in interior design stores growth, yes. So, in my opinion, interior design stores slowing down a bit, and I think that's related to the slowdown in the development of the residential real estate market. But sports and leisure keep on going strong, and actually we are introducing new stores in this category and new brands, international. As an example, JD Sports is opened in Akropolis, Klaipėda last year, and now will open in few weeks in Akropolis, Vilnius.
But I would little bit add on it, actually. We are still talking about 2022, which was obvious a very good year for retail industry, despite of the fact that war has come, despite of the fact that indexation or inflation was peaking to really sky high, and all that challenges was somehow, coped with. And we still think that we ended 22 in a very successful phase. But after saying this, there is always but up front. So we are in 2023 now, and we do see the results of first quarter or even 4 months of 2023 now, and the trend of getting slower is obvious too. I mean, this peak which we faced last year in terms of growing volumes of the turnovers of the shopping centers, it needs to slightly slow down due to microeconomics atmosphere. We all understand that interest rates are still already increased and still will, most likely, and each or majority of the private housings and families, they will really face that. And this is going to affect the upcoming months and I would say year or year and a half. While really focusing more on, again, going back to efficient decisions, going back to, normal pace rather than, growing together with inflation or more. This will need to slow down. And in a view what we do see from the results of the shopping center portfolio, it's obvious it actually does. I just can give you an example which most likely doesn't give a true trend as such, but if the best performing shopping center in January 2023 was still growing per 30%, so the best performing shopping center was only growing per 6% in April. So the decreased trend of growth, not turnovers, but growth, is already visible. So we should be we should be thinking of that as well. Yes, we did celebrate 2022, perfect. But 2023 is coming and it might be slightly different.
So you all do have a unique vantage point to see how the retailers are doing and estimate whether the consumer demand is going down. Would you agree with Rida?
Yes, agree. PAF is slowing down, the growth is slowing down, and it's difficult to forecast for how long it's. I'm still thinking that it will be down for the summer because the people, the consumers, they are switching their money to vacation. We know that vacation prices went up very much, and people now need to kind of put apart much more money than used to do it. So then retail is suffering, of course. Autumn, let's see, I cannot forecast because this depends how this microeconomics, how the titles of the media will scream, how often they will scream because they're influencing very much the consuming. So it's many factors that we don't know. So nowadays to forecast that is very difficult. Yeah.
So I will not be so dramatic, but it's still growth.
It's
so
still
it's a
growth.
good thing.
I
so
wanted to comment on that, yeah.
I think the moods are quite good. And we see growth. Yes, it's slower compared to last year, but it's still growth, so positive development. And I think the good indicator of the moods is that retailers keep opening new stores or revamping the existing stores, and I think this is the good way to measure the temperature.
So if you are still optimistic about the macro environment, what are your plans in terms of opening the new Vilnius Vingis Akropolis? Is it still in the works, and what should we be expecting?
Yes, so as we have publicly communicated, last year we presented the newly redeveloped design concept to the public, which was later approved by Vilnius City Municipality. And the confirmed concept is a mixed-use, multifunctional complex which incorporates retail, leisure, concert hall, office blocks, long-term residential apartments, and of course a parking. So this is a new approach, and we are moving with it. And we not only have presented the design of the complex itself, but also of the surrounding infrastructure, which is intended to improve the traffic for pedestrians, for bicycles, and for cars, obviously, in the surrounding area. And the next step, or the aim for this year, is to prepare the detailed technical project of those future developments and to obtain a construction permit by the end of the year. So this is the aim for this year, and next steps and next milestones in the project will be communicated when the info is available.
Yeah. So it seems like it's very important right now, more than, let's say, 10 years ago, to have this unique concept for each center. So how do different centers come up with that unique concept? And how do you work with tenants to adapt to the unique concept to capture the consumer trends? And how do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah. It's, of course, it's a lot of, we can talk about that, but to make it shorter, I would say, like, I'd talk from Panorama perspectives more, we are all shopping centers quite built in the neighborhood of 2 minutes of drive, and this is already the problem, When I started 15 years ago to work in Panorama, I just understood that we can't compete neither with size, with Akropolis or others, neither with the entertainment part, which was all the time talks entertainment, So, and we didn't have even the possibility, physical possibility for such an entertainment to compete with this shopping center. So we needed to find another, strong points which we could be separating, and to be different. And that's how we started actually to work on portfolio, diversification of portfolio, and to bring the strong segments and strengthen some segments which are actually resilient for some kind of fluctuations of economic, fluctuation and so on. And this is, we figured out at that time that it was actually cosmetics. Which is we developed very much, and this is the best selection until now. I still can say that bravely that it's the best selection of cosmetics choice in Panorama. And then, of course, I started the gourmet kind of idea, which was crazy at that time in 2010, in the deep crisis. But I had strong belief in that, and this is persuasion of shareholders to invest and to agree with me. And then gourmet happened, and we had to prepare the market also for these kind of things. So you cannot just you have an idea and go, you have to see if the market is ready for it. And, so step by step, little by little. So now we are different in terms of the food, and we're different in cosmetics. So we're trying to kind of separate with strengthening our portfolio segments, which were different. And then of course, you have to follow the customers, and you have to be very customer-centric. And analyze a lot of data, customers thinking, which customer coming, and not to think that I'll build a shopping center for what I imagine. You build a shopping center for the customer which already used to come and they're coming. Sorry to take so much time.
And I would think that the customer is constantly changing, not necessarily the
exactly
the actual
to be
customer,
adaptive
but
and flexible. That is and I'm working myself always with my head about that. And if I'll ask to my team, if I sleep, if I becoming stubborn, please hit me.
So Rida, what do you think are the future trends? What is it that we should be focused on today?
Coming back to the concepts, right, or differentiation of concepts among the shopping centers, which sometimes seems to be quite similar to each other, or though on the other hand, they still have quite unique target audience at the same time. So what does really make those shopping centers different? And unfortunately, the luxury of building the new shopping centers is on Dominik's table, not mine. But mine experiences, while giving the outsourced property management services, actually taking something what you get is already done. And then basically the thing is to bring up the ideas on how to improve it or how to really change or adopt it if needed, because not all assets needs to be changed. So first of all, when you do think of it, you need to very well evaluate your target audience and location you are. I can just very briefly in 2 seconds share our latest experience. You might be knowing very well that Newsec has started to do the property management for the quite well-known and really in terms of retail history, old asset as a shopping center in Vilnius, Europa. And this asset has been opened backdating to 2004. Now we are in 2023. And there has been a huge shift in terms of market situation, in terms of location changes, in terms of what people are gathering around and how many people are working around, how many people are coming to the shopping center. So since really a star back in 2024, with some turbulent seasons, shopping center Europa is still living in the reconfiguration and still living in the concept change mood. And it will not end in upcoming year or maybe even 2, because there are still very good ideas on how to do that. But first of all, as already said, there is very clear, proven way. You need to know very well the data about your asset, and you need to know very well the client who comes. 10 years ago or around 20 years ago, client of Europa was totally different than today. Today is 40,000 people working around. Today is another 40,000 people coming and passing by. Today are the absolutely unique thing about Europa, which I never would think of about before, is that at least 50% of the clients are coming twice per day. Do you know of a shopping center where does that happen? You definitely know that for this reason you need to do more functions there, more services there, more daily routine serving functions in the shopping center, because that's the way it really, the territory around and the user is drafting your concept. So that would be the, this is something which is always unique about each asset. But if coming back to trends, yes, we all know that there are some general trends which are all shopping centers are following in Western Europe. They do improve the restaurant zones. They give a lot of assortment and various kind of experience. Many shopping centers are definitely turning into that experience-based client's journey, giving much more of a sense than enjoy to buy and spend time, rather, as we just said, sitting on the sofa. But look, coming back to Baltics, we all know how many shopping centers we have. And in recent 4 3 years, quite majority of those been already refurbished, or some kind of improvement ideas was already on the table. There are a list of them I can really name. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, all of them had some changes. And there are not that much of the shopping centers which have not yet been refurbished in one or the other way. So having on mind the microclimate, having on mind that quite a lot already been done in Baltics, I would say that the upcoming 2-3 years, this market will really focus on efficiency of management of the shopping centers. We really spend quite a lot of money on making them beautiful, from interiors and exteriors, changing the tenant concepts, etc. Quite a lot of them, they are already much brighter, bigger, nicer, with the screens and all the other facilities, renewed toilets and that's, etc., etc. That's beautiful, and that's absolutely the way to go. But the upcoming 2 to 3 years, to my understanding, is actually will be to focus on the data, on how to collect the data from the shopping center to make the efficiency in terms of main KPIs. Not only turnover, not only footfall, but, for example, dwell time means like how much time your client spends, your client journey, from what store your client, what does your client when he comes from Zara to where? Restaurant, cinema, Maxima? What does he on the way of his journey, and how one tenant impacts the other tenant. So this data is going to be much more and more relevant. And if Western Europe or Western shopping centers, they are also turning into that, so our region will definitely turn in it quite soon.
And obviously technology will help with a lot of that.
Technology,
what sorts of innovations do you see or have adopted already in your shopping centers? Maybe with Dominykas.
So I would like to just mention one thing about refurbishment, which Rida mentioned, and I completely agree. And so basically, we need to serve a purpose, and the purpose is for the clients is to do the shopping and to pleasantly spend the leisure time. It's that simple, I could say. And we are focusing on those two directions. So first of all is tenant mix, which keeps improving and new stores keep opening, and that's a constant process, and the shopping centers are getting better with every new opening. And in terms of refurbishment, so we just announced yesterday that we are starting the interior revamping project in Akropolis, Klaipėda, which will cover all the public spaces, including the sanitary facilities, and that's good news for Akropolis, Klaipėda.
And any interesting innovations that you're aware of or you have adopted already?
I could maybe
because we always hear how real estate is always lagging behind.
Definitely some innovations are relevant, and all the colleagues around really have been looking into it from one or the other angle who do work in retail industry. But I think the ones which are coming the soonest is going to be the digitalized way of tenant communication. We are going to have much easier tools to communicate with all of our tenants at the same time, and they might be using the same tool with communicating with us. Then there is an obvious niche of really using the smart solutions or digital solutions which are already invented. So much more precise data about the footfall, about the hotspots of your shopping center, about the effect one tenant by the other, about dwell time, that kind of stuff, definitely. Facility management is another category which is going to be much more digital quite soon, and data collection in terms of ESG, in terms of sustainable solutions on energy efficient usage is definitely to come. And it's not that complicated as it was many years, like 2-3 years ago. And when I was looking to that kind of solutions 3 years ago, exactly 3 years ago, there was basically very few of them to compare or to even tender. Now I have a list of tenant communication products on my table. At least 3 of them are brilliant, and it does not cost that much. For example, for that size as Akropolis, that would cost, the tenant communication tool would cost around 2,000 euros per month. So for that scale, is not that, I mean, it is a totally affordable amount. And I think this is the way where we are quite soon going to go, because we already shaped ourselves. We are quite well refurbished.
I would just add, despite all this, some of mentioned tools already is, I call this hygiene, which is we are doing, implementing, and we're just not thinking that this is something very much just efficiency again. Some of the innovations, probably, which are talking intelligence, you know, or something, it's still not very much user-friendly to the field. And not forget that retail, we are still having we are premises or real estate of the retail. And not to forget that we think about the customers, yeah? And customers, why they're coming to the physical stores and to shopping centers? Because they want an experience. And this experience, which we can provide as a landlords, this is quite limited, because the whole experience still providing the retailers. And retailers need to think about innovations constantly, about the not just innovations like a kind of robots or something, but self-service cash registers to exit faster, you know. This is innovations, simple innovation. Innovations in HR, innovations in the people who are servicing on the floor. And this is innovations which it needs to be done, not landlords. I can make many robots in the corridors, but they still will not, you know, satisfy the customers what for they are coming to shopping centers.
Sure. Now, we've run out of time, and just to finish off, there is one question from the audience, a very practical one. In New Akropolis, will you help making a bridge from Lazdynai to Vingio Parkas?
Yeah, good question, thank you. So obviously this bridge is outside our land plot, but we hope that the plans of Vilnius city municipality to build this bridge will come true.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.